Good morning and welcome to TCS Student News. I'm Sara here with
Alayla.
Let's get started with the news. Microplastics may be small, but they can do a whole lot of damage.
What kind of damage?
Microplastics can hurt your liver, enter your bloodstream, and affect your lymphatic system. A recent study has shown more plastic in human waste than ever been recorded. Researchers from Finland, Italy, Japan, the Netherlands, the UK, Austria, Russia, and Poland took part in the study, which took place in two medical facilities: the Medical University of Vienna and the Environment Agency of Austria. People were screened for 10 types of plastic, and as many as 9 different plastics, ranging between 50 and 500 micrometers in size, were detected. The main way microplastics enter the human body is through eating sea life that has ingested plastic. Many of the microplastics are untraceable. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch is just one of the sources of plastics in the ocean.
We need to really do something about the oceans. This could be really deadly.
I agree, but with our current administration getting rid of the EPA, there won't be any more studies on it.
Speaking of Trump, on Monday he vowed to reduce aid to Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador if they couldn't stop their citizens from fleeing to the United States. This came in response to the ongoing reports of thousands of migrants, mostly young adults, walking together towards the U.S. border, including people the United States has previously deported. Rachel Schwartz searched deep through the data to find out why children are fleeing from Central America to the United States. Increased violence and extreme poverty are their main reasons for fleeing. TMC authors warn that shifting foreign aid away from poor countries in order to help prevent citizens from migrating can backfire.
Do you like organic food?
Yeah, do you?
I do. Did you know organic food has been linked to a lower risk of cancer?
No, I didn't.
Well, a study of nearly 70,000 French adults who were tracked for an average of 4.5 years found that those who ate most organic foods were less likely to develop certain kinds of cancer than those who ate processed foods. The main cause of these types of cancer are the pesticides used to grow the crops. The European Food Safety Authority found residue from one or more pesticides on 44% of conventionally produced food, whereas 6.5% of organic food samples tested had detectable pesticide residues. More than 9 out of 10 people have measurable amounts of pesticides in their blood. The most common type of cancer caused by pesticides was breast cancer, followed by prostate cancer, skin cancer, colon cancer, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and other types of lymphomas. Switching from processed foods to organics can greatly decrease your chances of getting cancer.
Man, I should really start eating more organics.
I agree with that one.
On Monday, the Supreme Court blocked Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross from having to sit and give evidence in a lawsuit challenging the Trump administration's decision to add a question about citizenship to the 2020 census. Trump's administration added the question at the request of the Department of Justice so that the department could better enforce the Voting Rights Act. Civil rights groups strongly opposed the decision to add the citizenship question, saying immigrants will be less likely to respond to the census because they are fearful about giving important information about their own immigration status or the status of a loved one to the Trump administration because of the threat of deportation. The trial in the New York case is scheduled to begin in early November. There are also separate federal lawsuits in California and Maryland seeking to block the question from being added.
Now for some TCS news. On Thursday, Miss Elaine came back for another space lab. We focused on what sunspots were and how we could look at them. She showed us an amazing website for viewing the sun and sunspots. Miss Elaine told us about the magnetosphere and that protects us from the solar storms that radiate through space. Thank you so much for coming and teaching us about space and the sun. We can't wait for the next space lab.
That was a great space lab. Thank you, Miss Elaine. On Saturday, Talia had a lacrosse game and her team won. It's very cool that you play lacrosse, and we congratulate you and your team on your big win.
Last Friday, we had a conversation with Mr. Ken and Mr. John. They spoke to us about their stories, how they met, and the organization they began. The organization they run is called Be the Bridge. They call themselves Bridge Brothers. This foundation is a place where they discuss hard questions of race, like racism and police brutality are a couple of topics that may come up in any discussions they have. They also spoke about different times in their lives where they had racial justice or racial injustice. Thank you, Mr. Ken and Mr. John, for coming to share your inspiring story and how you became Bridge Brothers. We hope to see you soon.
On Tuesday, the school went to the library. We spoke to Mr. Alex Lawson, the librarian. He told us about how he can help us with things like finding a specific book, recommending books based on genre, and helping us with anything else dealing with research. Thank you for talking with us and helping us find so many great books.
We have been doing some fundraising around the school lately. One of the main events that is coming up would be the Shrimp and Bull Roast on Saturday, November 10th from 6 to 10 p.m. Another fundraiser is the Holiday Evergreens. We are selling wreaths, tabletop trees, and more. Orders must be placed no later than November 12th. You can find more information about these events at tcshighschool.org.
We would like to thank everyone who put the time into making lunch for us, all of us here at TCS. On Tuesday, Miss Peg made us lunch with shrimp alfredo, Caesar salad, grapes, bread, and gingerbread cookies. Thank you, Miss Peg, for the wonderful lunch. On Wednesday, Miss Amina made chili and brought cornbread with it. The chili was delicious, and we all thank you here at TCS.
Well, that wraps up this week's edition of TCS Student News. We hope to see you next week.